Right back out of here on the early line. Rise and grind. It's what we do. It's Joe Ranieri. It's Donnie right side. The energy needs to be here to carry you through for your Sports Grid day, and that is our job. And we always take that mission seriously. You know whose job it is also to lead a football team? It's your starting quarterback. You know how you can't lead your football team, Joe? If you are injured. Adam Schefter report yesterday. Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders suffered an oblique strain today, will not practice Thursday, and is unlikely to play Saturday versus the Philadelphia Eagles. You get the mojo. You get the good start. You want to build on that, and all of a sudden, you go to the back of the line because if you are injured, you cannot practice, you cannot play, you cannot be in the game plan, and you cannot show your teammates and coaching staff and general manager and owner and fans that you deserve to be the starting quarterback in week number 1. This is a setback for Shedeur. It's an oblique, which means, Joe, that's torque on the football. That's throwing. That's what a quarterback does. You can't just go out and say, hey, you know what? Oblique hurts today. I'll just go 50%. You can't do that. Big injury for Shedeur Sanders and the Browns.
It's just totally unfortunate. Once again, the whole Browns organization and quarterbacking is cursed, Donnie. Any which way you cut it. I mean, how else do you look at it? At this point, this organization has been so ridiculously bad at figuring out who their quarterbacks are for a bevy of reasons over the years. And now you get a guy that goes 45 snaps in an opening game that has more hype around him than any quarterback you've had in a very, very long time. Things are looking up. And then what happens in some fluke injury in a joint practice with your Eagles with no full pads on somehow? Pulls an oblique injury? Like, what? You've got to be. You can't make this up, Donnie. Honestly, you just can't make it up.
Maybe he's smarter than everybody else. He says, look, man, I can't compete with the Eagles. So I'm not going to go out there to 7-7 or 11-11 and embarrass myself. I don't want to play in this football game when some of those Eagles players will start. I put good film out there. Let me just sit this out and let everybody else put bad film out there. But the funny part about this is, if there's anything funny, is you look at the Browns, locker room, particularly the quarterback situation. It's like, hey, look at all the young guys. Kenny Pickett, injured hamstring. Shedeur Sanders, injured oblique. Dillon Gabriel, injured hamstring. 40-year-old Joe Flacco, healthy. Come on, we can't make this up, can we, Joe?
No, and listen, Flacco was taking all the reps with the starters anyway during practice, and the unfortunate thing is now. Well, I guess the fortunate thing is, right, Tyler Huntley, who was signed off the scrap heap because they didn't have anybody else to back up Shedeur last week healthy enough, and they are not going to roll out in a wheelchair there, good old Joe Flacco and his AARP card. So we're basically going to be looking at, Dillon Gabriel, who is somewhat healthy. Pickett doesn't appear to be healthy enough to play this week. So here we go. No Flacco, no Pickett, the two guys with the experience. So now we're going to get Huntley, who we've all seen enough of in his career, and maybe a little Dillon Gabriel if he doesn't get hurt, that is, at some point between now and then.
By the way, you know where Joe Flacco grew up? What state, Joe? Do you know that?
Oh, he's a Jersey/Delaware guy, from what I understand.
Yep, he grew up in Audubon, played football at Audubon High School. Why does DRS bring this up? That's the Colonial Conference as it used to be in the 1990s and so many decades. Did you know, now granted, I'm older, I'm 47, he's 40, but, same conference here. In 1995, scored 2 touchdowns against Audubon High School. Was named the South Jersey Player of the Week for a wide receiver. Did you know that about your boy right here? And you know what? Watch this.
Oh, no. I know.
Let me reach back. Now, let me explain this. Let me explain this to you. See, here's a plaque. Let me just get a little bit closer. It's probably hard to focus on this here. Right. But that's my plaque. Now, it says Offensive Lineman of the Week. Do I look like an offensive lineman? No. They took 2 skill position players, 2 wide receivers, but they already had the plaques made out. So my name is on there, the date's on there, but it says Offensive Lineman of the Week. So maybe I could play that off. You know what I mean? Would you think I was an offensive lineman if you saw this plaque?
Donnie, I got to tell you, don't say that too loud because there are still a number of teams looking for solid offensive linemen. So you might be getting a phone call here, my man, based upon that plaque. I'd keep the lid on that. Keep it quiet. Don't want you getting hurt here before the end of the week.
No, and also a sneak peek into that game as well, Joe. I had 1 touchdown in the first half, which was great, but the second half we were winning by a wide margin. So me and the quarterback decided to not run the football and throw a deep touchdown pass, which I caught some flack on the sideline by my head coach. But come on now. You got to live for today, Joe. Don't worry about tomorrow. Score today. Worry about running in practice tomorrow. You ever hear that? You know what I mean? Come on.
What have you done for me lately? I am with you, dude. The more touchdowns you can throw, more blocks you
Yeah.
can get, very valuable. Hold on to that plaque, Donnie. Don't lose it. Don't lose it.
Absolutely. By the way, back to the Browns situation. Is it clear, though, right now that Joe Flacco should be minus 10,000 to start week number 1? Like, is that what we're heading towards, where he shouldn't be the starter? But it's like, hey, he's the old guy. Yeah, he's the only healthy guy. How's it even possible anyway? Flacco's going to start week 1, isn't he?
They might bubble wrap him at this point, Donnie. They might roll Flacco and bubble wrap and put him somewhere in the locker room and say, don't touch this. Kind of like your plaque back there. Just keep it off to the side. Don't let anything happen to it. And then we need a healthy quarterback for week 1. And it's quite apparent that Stefanski doesn't want to see Flacco in the preseason. He needs a healthy quarterback for game 1. And he's going to get it, provided Flacco doesn't trip over somebody in practice.
Incredible, man. Like, you try to get these guys souped up for the regular season, like young quarterbacks here, can't take care of their hamstrings. Old guy's going to start. 4.5 as a team total for the Browns. And I just find it funny where I wonder how quickly these injuries, heal up per se, because I did want Shedeur Sanders to start week 1 of the NFL season, because I just think a young rookie quarterback should start for the Browns, who have no hope for the future without a quarterback. And now we're just saying no quarterbacks can play. Like, is Joe Flacco playing 4 quarters on Saturday's game? Like, what's the deal here in Philadelphia?
Huntley, you got Huntley, and Gabriel is what you're going to get here. And that's, well, listen, you drafted Dylan Gabriel, so it's actually not a bad thing that you're going to get to see him here maybe this week in week 2. Because you got to figure it out, right? At some point, you still got to figure it out. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
Flacco is not the long-term answer. So you better get one of these guys, whether it's Pickett or Gabriel, healthy enough to play in these next 2 weeks.
By the way, Flacco did go to Delaware. Did you know where he went before Delaware for his freshman year, I guess? Do you know what that was?
Where? Where'd he go?
Pittsburgh. Do you know who his head coach was? Dave Wannstedt. Wannstedt told him he's going to be the starter the next year, and he goes, yeah, it's okay. I'm still going to Delaware anyway. Joe Flacco on the move. And who else is on the move? Caleb Williams. He's starting, people. Ready to go, Joe. That's the theme here. We're ready. It's August 14th, 2025. It's a Thursday. In a couple more Thursdays, we'll have the kickoff for the NFL season. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I'm actually going to be in studio doing a college football show that will be live with Joe Lisi, and then it's officially football season. Even though for me, Joe, I always think about July as football season because that's when we get the training camps. But now we're saying Ben Johnson is in control in Chicago. That's the head coach everybody wanted there. That's an offense that spent a lot of money on its talent and a lot of high draft capital. The expectations are sky high. Courtney Cronin tweets out yesterday. Ben Johnson said that everyone is going to play Sunday versus Buffalo in the Bears' second preseason game. That includes Caleb Williams and the starters who sat out last week. Get the starters some time. Let me see him with Ben Johnson, and let's see what we have for the season itself. I like this move. These guys need to play. Now let's just see what happens once they play this weekend.
Well, again, we'll see. The problem that I have here is there is so much hype around Ben Johnson, the coach, and that, this is going to be the savior, and they finally got it right. I am not sure the Ben Johnson offense. I'm not a believer in Caleb Williams at all. I wasn't a believer with him out of USC, Donnie. I didn't think he deserved to go on board. I thought, crazy me, and I said it a million times here on the network, JT Daniels is the best quarterback coming out of college. Like, I don't even know what are we even arguing about here. Caleb Williams is too busy, with the tears, hanging out in the stands with his mom. Like, this is not a guy I want leading my football team. And the Bears, well, they had an opportunity, and, well, they picked Caleb Williams. But now they're going to try to redo that mistake by bringing in a head coach, which is a great move with Ben Johnson. But I don't see it working, Donnie. I don't care how much talent you have around him. I don't trust him above the shoulders at all. I think there will be, mark my words and mark the tape, by week 7 or 8, there'll be a different quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
No, come on now. Ben Johnson is the creator of the quarterback position. They got weapons, Joe. They got a guy that's about ball in there, Heisman Trophy style, in college, ready to take the reins. You know when I'm going to get fired up? If Caleb goes like this, and it says like "Go
Yeah.
Bears" on his painted fingernails. That's an MVP
Oh, I
season that we're
can't.
going to have at this point
I
right now.
can't.
Let me ask you the question on this, though. Last year, Caleb Williams, let me just bring up some stats that he had. 3,541 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a passer rating of 87. His passer yards this year, his prop, 3,625. He should smash that. But you know what's funny? You're right about this. He was telling stories in the offseason like, hey, man, Eberflus would tell me to go watch film. I had no idea what I was watching. Now, at least you're going to have somebody to watch film and break down film with in Ben Johnson. How does he not throw for roughly 100 more yards than he did last year, Joe? So your prediction or the odds maker saying like, yeah, Joe's right now. He's going to stink. I don't think he's going to stink. I think he surpasses that number. But I look at that number go like, why is it just barely higher than what we saw last year?
Yeah, and again, the market is telling you, aren't they, Donnie? Everything that you need to know, that it is not going to be all about Caleb Williams. And if you truly believe in Johnson in his first year as a head coach, well, then he has got to make it about a lot of other things other than dropping Caleb Williams back 30, 35, 40 times a game, Donnie. They are going to have to be able to run and play defense, get turnovers. Sure, they're going to have to do everything else right in order to give him a shot to actually be successful. Because if you're planning on dropping him back that many times, nothing good is coming from that in any way, shape, or form.
It's interceptions or touchdown passes, Joe. That's team totals. That's going over the total. That's what we really need to see. The Chicago Bears win total this season, 8.5, which means expectations are to push for a playoff spot in December. The playoffs, short dog price, plus 180. The NFC North champions at a plus 550. The NFC title at 20-1, and then the Super Bowl at a 40-1 odds here. For you, Joe, what does a good season look like for the Chicago Bears?
500 is a good season. I mean, what more are we expecting when you don't truly have a proven commodity at quarterback? I just don't get it. I mean, if you could do the draft all over again, are you really picking Caleb Williams? Is this the guy that you want? And the answer is absolutely not. So it may take a little while for him. But you just go 500 in the first year, and I think you're heading on the right path.
Come on, let's cook this year, Joe. I got to sway you over to my opinion on Caleb. Let's cook. Ben Johnson, Caleb. They can run for president and vice president in a couple years. So maybe the mayor of Chicago. They're going to take over the Windy City at this point here. I'll tell you who's not taking over. It's Odell Beckham Jr. Give it up. I think I'm a better wide receiver right now than Odell Beckham Jr. No. I got the stats to prove it. Oh, Jerry Jones and those Dallas Cowboys. Maybe it's good that they're out of town, Oxnard, California, before they fly back. But the one thing I can never understand is a guy that you would probably ask, like that wants to win a championship and be on top of the world again more than anybody else, is Jerry Jones. But then you start to question everything about Jerry Jones and his management style. To have a team worth more money than any single sports team on the planet and to not have any success whatsoever at winning championships or the thought of a championship in 30 years is incredible. But that's the Dallas Cowboys. And yesterday, we had a tweet come out from Todd Archer. And it was the interview with a transcript here. What's preventing you guys from talking right now? That was Todd Archer. Jerry said again, nothing really. And then Todd Archer goes back. So why don't you talk? Jerry says, again, nothing would be that. And we might or might not talk. And the rest of that gets into what we do every day. This man sounds like he's lost his mind. You are the owner. You have the checkbook. If you wanted to right now, Joe, at 8:33 Eastern, can walk into the room and say, here's your check for 5 years and $222 million, start to play football and let's go. Does he enjoy the actual spectacle of the sport more than actually winning? 20 years ago, I never thought that would be the case with Jerry Jones, Joe.
Listen, Jerry Jones he didn't get here by accident, right? He didn't get to be the billionaire Dallas Cowboys owner by accident. And he did it because everything is about, principles and perception. And in his mind, getting the better of the situation, right? One thing he did say, which I think explains everything here, Donnie, one of the quotes that he gave yesterday when people are like, listen, you're 21 days away from game one here. Like, what are you like? Aren't you worried you're under? And he said, quote, You don't have deadlines when you're playing under a contract, end quote. And he's right. It's not like this is a free agent. This is a guy that is under contract. And to Jerry Jones, he's right. Listen, I'm not the one losing out here. You're the one who doesn't show up and doesn't play. You're the one who's going to lose money. The reasons Micah Parsons is in camp is strictly because he doesn't want to lose the money. Why? He's under contract. So you don't have to do anything if you're Jerry Jones. It better be Micah Parsons making the first move.
I got to tell you, like, when did Mike Brown sort of seep into Jerry Jones's body? Like, hey, we're going to be physically responsible. We can't pay everybody, but yet understanding that the economics of the NFL is pay these guys as soon as you can because you will save money on a rising salary cap. Not wait till the cap goes higher, which means you have to pay your player even more money in the meantime and then do it again a couple years later. That's what I can't understand. And for a team that's like Jerry's getting older. Jerry doesn't go, hey, I have a 20-year vision for this franchise. No, you don't. You have a 3-year vision for this franchise, and this is the way that we're going to run it. But even more importantly, sometimes you can see owners, general managers, or players be very articulate behind the microphone. Here's the game plan. Here's why we're doing it. It's all going to work out in the end. We're getting blips and blurbs from Jerry every day that sounds like he has no idea what's going on in his own organization, and he runs the thing.
Yeah, he does. But again, it's all about leverage with a Jerry Jones, the billionaire, right? It's all about having leverage here. And he'll keep pointing to the fact that, listen, we talked about a contract, we had a deal, and all of a sudden, you walked away from it. Now you want to have another negotiations. All the while you have a contract, you are still under contract. And then don't forget, they can still use the franchise tag on him here at some point, Donnie, as well. So, again, leverage. Jerry has all of it. Parsons is the only one losing out here. And Jerry could care less, quite honestly, other than the fact of Jerry got the better of him. See, I told you it was going to work out, but it worked out because Jerry got the better end of the deal.
Amazing times here. Jerry's bank account's going to get bigger, more yachts, more fun, more canned film festivals for Jerry, more drafts from the middle of the ocean on his yacht where he picks the player out here, and that's not going to change. The only thing that we hope is going to change if you're a Cowboys fan is wins on the field, and when you play these games, you win stupid prizes. That's what Dallas has won, stupid prizes for 30 years. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. One wide receiver to another. It's your boy Donnie right side. It's Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know why this guy's name has stood out there for the past couple of years. I don't know why people still get excited. It has been since 2019 where he's meant anything on the football field. We're going into 2025. A Tom Pelissero tweet came up yesterday. 3-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. has drawn interest from several teams and plans to play somewhere in 2025 per source. As OBJ posted himself, he's not retiring and continues to train in anticipation of being on the field soon, which was hilarious over the weekend where like Adam Schleckler tweeted out that he's going to retire and he got angry at that. I got news for you, Joe Ranieri. Odell Beckham Jr. has been retired for at least 5 to 6 years at this point. Let me give you the sought-after free agent that he is. Receptions per season. In 2020, 23. In 2021, 17. In 2021, along that with the Rams, 27. And then you get to 2023 and beyond, 35 and 9. Who would want this guy other than he has like a legendary status for a few really good years with the Giants and some amazing catches. You know what else we remember him for? Oh, he wears funny cleats in the preseason or before the game. And wow, did you get to the game early because he makes all these catches with one hand? Got news for you, Odell. If you made more catches with 2 hands, you'd probably still be in the league right now. How about that?
The problem with Odell is the guy had all what could have been. I mean, Donnie, really, that's what, when we look back at Odell Beckham, we're going to be like, what could have been? This guy had all the talent in the world and showed flashes of it. I mean, greatness. But the problem was bit of a head case early on in his career and then couldn't stay healthy, Donnie. And that year with the Rams, that was unbelievable, that year with the Rams, where a lot of guys had counted him out back then, too. But he was a big part of that run to the Super Bowl there. So if he can play, Donnie, if a team legit thinks Odell Beckham Jr. still has something in the tank, he'll be on a roster at some particular point this season. If teams don't think he is good enough, or he doesn't have the burst anymore. He's got nothing left. He'll be doing interviews and probably in the booth before it's all said and done this season.
Like, again, with the Rams run, like he had 27 catches. Do you know what I mean? Like he was having a good Super Bowl before he got injured. We'll give him that. But also, let's understand, like, oh, I'm a superstar with Baltimore. It's like, hey, you know what? That's interesting. OBJ goes to Baltimore. 35 catches, 565. And I don't even think they used him in the playoffs at all. And then he goes, hey, man, let's go down to Miami. I got Tua. I got Mike McDaniel. I got electric wide receivers on the outside. You're going to have to single me up on a slot cornerback who's probably your fifth best cornerback. You know what he did for Miami? 9 games, 9 catches. And he's talking about teams want me. Why would you want Odell Beckham? Otherwise, just hanging a poster saying, do you remember how cool he was? This guy cannot help your football team. Don't waste a spot on your roster on Odell Beckham. Groom, train, get a younger player ready on that organization. Odell can't help you except for the name himself and the hair that he has. That's it.
Don't forget, Donnie, 2 years ago, the Ravens gave him $15 million guaranteed
yes,
on that 1 year deal.
What a heist.
But the only reason they gave him that is because they were still negotiating with Lamar Jackson, who is best friends with Odell Beckham Jr., and Lamar wanted Odell on the team. They eventually got that 5-year contract settled with Lamar, but only after they gave Odell $15 million. So it pays to have friends, Donnie, in high places. That's for sure.
Exactly. I mean, come on, getting 300 to 400 yards a season here. And again, with the Miami Dolphins, which was a bad team, 9 catches, 18 targets, and 55 yards on the season. And he's going to go play somewhere? Stop it, man. LA Fitness probably has a lot of flag football leagues. Odell can probably rip up and make all the one-handed catches he can. He's just not an NFL player anymore. He was sensational with the Giants. He's not that player anymore, and it's time to move on. You know what's time to move on to right now? Major League Baseball. We're talking Brewers. They already got the 12 spot underneath. Is it 13? Is it 14? Is it 15? Is it 16 wins on deck for the Brew Crew? Let's talk about that next and much more in Major League Baseball right here on the Early Line. Hour number 2 officially underway. And if anybody knows me, Joe Raniere, I'm very structured in my life, right? I eat 1 time a day, make sure I get to bed at an early hour. But I've been staying up later and later here trying to watch some of these baseball games come in. It's been a lot of fun. But I like to take my vitamins at a certain time during the show to keep the energy alive. Do you know I haven't taken a single vitamin today because I keep forgetting because of how much fun I'm having on the show today? Like, I'm not even paying attention to my meds over here.
They do make a vitamin that will help you remember to take your vitamins, Donnie. I'm just throwing that out there for you. So you may need to add a little something to that repertoire. But listen, plenty of time. And we got another 57 minutes here to give out a whole bunch of winners coming up here over the weekend as well.
Yeah, I read somewhere like once you hit like 39, like the brain says, you know what? I'm not really in my prime anymore. I'm going to start to go downhill at this point. So if I'm 47, like Lisi's got, like, what's Lisi, 58, 59, something like that? I mean, Lisi's mind's got to be mush at this point here as we support our guy heading into football season. But yes, brains matter, and so does the hot topic we're going to talk about, because you need brain function to understand this one. We're going to the Fade the Public poll. Get ready for this. Crossover time. You ever watch Allen Iverson crossover Michael Jordan his rookie season? Boom, bam, bam. Ooh, got the great one here. Sometimes you need a crossover, which means sports mixes over with social media and pop stars here. What am I saying this for? Go to @SportsGrid right now. Find our poll and vote on it. The question that we asked the people today in our Fade the Public poll, will you watch or listen to Taylor Swift's appearance on the New Heights podcast? Now, the vote's coming in. 70% are saying no. I have to say this right now. It's unfair for me because I voted no, but also I've never watched Kelce's podcast. I've seen clips. I've never actively seeked out the Kelce podcast. And Jason Kelce is a Philadelphia Eagle for life, one of the best to ever do it here. I don't care about that contact, but I'll tell you right now, the amount of views I was seeing last night coming in from that podcast, like live viewers, Joe, over 1 million, breaking the internet here. Taylor Swift and football, people hate on it. Seems like it's moving the needle, though, Joe.
Oh, there's just so many things I can say about this. But let me just say that I'm thinking the majority of the people that tuned in, of the million there to listen to that, weren't necessarily diehard football fans or Kelce fans. I'm just throwing that out there. I would say there is a majority of that 1 million people on that podcast that tuned in that probably have never watched a football game in their life. But I'm sure there was a certain portion of it that were both a football and a Taylor Swift fan. Anything is possible, but I think the majority of people there probably not on gambling Twitter. I'm just throwing that out there, Donnie.
T Swizzle. Now, what was the genesis of it? Was she was going to come on? Of course, the number's going to get boosted. Your whoever is paying you money to advertise loves it. It's sensational. But I think, was she announcing she made a new album, or when the album's release is? Like, what was the point of her appearance other than showing up there and just saying, "Hey, it's my boyfriend over here"?
Everything. It was to give. Yeah, the album obviously number one, but number two was, of course, and she talked apparently about a whole lot of stuff, and I know this because I listened to it like 6 times. But she talked about the relationship with Kelce and how she got into football and how she's a fan, and of course so I mean, listen, you were very satisfied after listening to that podcast for sure, especially if you're a Swiftie.
Exactly. And also, we have to understand this, too. Like, power couple extraordinaire. How much longer is Travis Kelce going to play football? When are they going to get married? Any kids in the future? Like, that's the next evolution of the podcast to try to boost it up at this point. Because where that podcast started to catch fire was the Kelce brothers were still playing in the NFL. Now one Kelce brother's retired. The other one still plays for the Kansas City Chiefs and now dates Taylor Swift. What happens when that Kelce does retire? What does that podcast wind up to be? But for me, I've never seeked it out before, but also understanding this. My daughter did. She watched it last night. She wanted to get the genesis of, when is this actually coming out? And, what's this about at this point now? So moving the needle anytime you bring T Swizzle on your podcast makes some sense, which is why I question, why do we ever have Taylor Swift if she likes football so much and is about to start breaking down games? SportsGrid Network, Taylor Swift, afternoon spot. I hear there could be some available here.
Anything. Never say never, Donnie. Anything is possible with T Swift and Kelce, but there's got to be a market somewhere that has a prop and a date set for when they break up and she releases a new album. So I'm wondering what that date is, where maybe the end of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce could be in the future. Because if you can bet on it, there are people that are going to take some action on that number for sure.
Like, me, Joe. Like, I love to sing. I sing all the time, like just old stuff. Like, I wish nothing more. Like, if I could go back in time and make you like a 1980s like rock star, I would sing all your music to you every single day. So the reason I say it's like if Taylor Swift came on, like I feel like I would just need to sing like random lyrics to her to get her to sing along, and that'd be the whole podcast that we would have together. Like, Joe, why couldn't you be like the band Rat, Scorpion? And I would just sing those songs to you. Like, hey, Joe, do you remember in 86 when you went to Moscow and played for that huge crowd over there? And you're like, yes, Donnie, you asked me this before. Hey, Joe, do you remember in 88 when you showed up at spring break here and did that and you smashed your guitar? Yes, Johnny, I remember that. Why couldn't you have been a rock star so I could talk to you, Joe, and sort of pick your brain?
Yeah, let me tell you, from what I understand, one of the biggest Swifties we're going to have on the show a little bit later, and Cam Stewart, I know, loves a lot of her songs. In fact, I believe he might even actually sing a few of them for us coming up here on the show, Donnie. So I'm looking forward to getting Cam's rendition of some Taylor Swift songs.
Now, how about this rendition of the Chiefs coming up this season? Because that's always a focal point. Like, Travis is worried about other things outside of just being a football player. We do see Travis Kelce. He's still an elite player in the NFL by his standards. But this Travis Kelce version, not the same version that we used to get the past couple years. And Father Time always catches up, even more so to skilled players. What do we think of the Kansas City Chiefs and Kelce this year? And also, I thought there might have been a chance that he would have retired this past offseason. Are we looking at maybe a final year for Travis Kelce this year?
Well, a lot of people thought it was over last year. And, you know what happens, Donnie. Once you start asking that question at the end of the previous season and you start getting a lot of people chirp, well, is this it? Will he come back? And we didn't get a definitive answer after they got their butts kicked by the Eagles, did we? No, it was like, well, we're just going to go home and think about it. And then we eventually learned that he was coming back. But once that can of worms is open, the whole retirement situation, then you're you're a short timer at this point. I got to believe this is probably, boom or bust here for Kelce and the Chiefs.
I get a kick out of too was like the I don't know if it was ESPN or whatever network put all that money into, hey, the Chiefs are probably going to three-peat only for the Eagles to beat them, but then still go ahead with the show on them three-peating, even though they didn't three-peat, and it comes out 6 months later. We already knew what happened in the Super Bowl. I get a kick out of that stuff, Joe. Like the Chiefs repeating this year on repeating on repeating. They ain't winning it this year, right? Come on now, Chiefs ain't winning nothing this year.
Well, we've been saying that last year, the year prior. It's the same thing with Tom Brady and the Patriots. We were like, no, it can't happen again. And then at some point, you're just like, I'm just not losing any more money fading Brady, and I'm not losing any more money fading Mahomes and Andy Reid. Not doing it.
Absolutely. You know what you don't want to do? Like sell stock on the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe you do on like the odds market by saying they can't win a lot of football games, but they are worth a lot of money. Find out how much they're worth right now. Travis Kelce style. Money, 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 money. That's what the NFL is about. That's what Jerry Jones is fighting right now with Micah Parsons. That's what Trey Hendrickson is fighting with Mike Brown over. Everybody wants more money and a bigger slice of the pie. But sometimes, Joe, when you put that for sale sign on the front of your house or you put that on the front of your stadium, different sports franchises are going to garner more attention than others right now. So it's pretty easy to say if we look at the top values in the NFL market, and I'll just ask you this one question before we put that, graphic up. You know who it is, right, people out there? You know who the most valuable franchise in professional sports is. It's simple. It's the Dallas Cowboys. So as we rail on Jerry Jones, you idiot, you dummy, you don't want to win Super Bowls, isn't he really winning, though, when it all comes down to it? Isn't the bottom line and the amount of money that your franchise is worth the most winning you could possibly do in the NFL, Joe?
Yeah, well, and the last time they won a actual championship, no less, was how long ago exactly? And yeah, Jerry's always going to win. Bottom line, that's why he is who he is, and the Cowboys are what they are. So, and this is nothing new, by the way. It's not like the Cowboys have been resurrected from the dead and they weren't worth a fraction of this. No, they have always been the most valuable franchise in the world. Why? Because that's what Jerry wanted and that's what Jerry built. And they are. Are they still America's team, Donnie? Is that still what they're referring to?
No, they're not. The Philadelphia Eagles are America's team. Everybody knows that now. We took that mantle a long time ago from the Dallas Cowboys.
Gotcha.
So that's the way it's going to get down. But if we show this graphic, the top 10 most valuable franchises in the NFL, I'll go down the list here. It's the Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Rams, New York Giants, New England Patriots, San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles. You see them 6 on the list. 7th is the Dolphins, 8th is the Jets, 9th is the Raiders, and 10th are the Commanders. Now, we understand that the Dallas Cowboys, of course, like Jerry World, AT&T Stadium, the center of the universe, at least in the sports media landscape, they hold those rights. Because why? Ratings are how you get those rights and also being in a big city. But I got to credit this, like Stan Kroenke, being a businessman as well. He had a football team in St. Louis. It's like, I got to get out of St. Louis. And California's like, we'll let you come here, but we're not giving you a dime for a stadium. And he goes, you know what? I'll pay for that whole stadium myself. I'll build it with private funds. I just have to get to that L.A. market. And he goes from the St. Louis market to the L.A. market, and it's behind now the Dallas Cowboys with the second most valuable team in the NFL. That's what we call putting your money where your mouth is. And also an extension of this. You see the Raiders at 9th on the list, which is very good at $7.9 million or $7.9 billion. If you remember back in the day, Al Davis would have had the Los Angeles market all to himself because LA had 2 teams. It was the Raiders and it was the Rams. The Rams bounced to St. Louis, and not having the foresight to understand that you own that market now, somehow it's like, hey, build me Mount Davis in center field up there in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, and I'll be back on the way. Can you imagine if the Raiders brand, Joe, never left L.A. and they were the only team in L.A.? They would rival the Dallas Cowboys, maybe surpass the Dallas Cowboys. But that's just the way it is right now. Dallas 1, Rams 2. That's how it sits.
Yeah, and overall, Donnie, maybe the most amazing number that just came out as far as financial strength of the NFL is that every team, all 32 teams, witnessed a year-over-year valuation increase. Are you ready for this? 12%.
Crazy.
12% on billion-dollar worth organizations, including your Eagles, which jumped
Yeah.
25% with their Super Bowl victory there. It's good business to be in the NFL, Donnie, any which way you cut it.
It is the bottom team on the list. No surprise. It's the Cincinnati Bengals at $5.5 billion. Then the Jacksonville
Yeah.
Jaguars, the New Orleans Saints, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Indianapolis Colts. It's interesting because branding is a lot of this, but also, usually more importantly, Joe, is the media market that you're in. Because if you can command millions and millions of people and they're yours, that's why these teams are worth so much. If you own the stadium, it plays into it. I am kind of interested to see why the Arizona Cardinals are 29th out of 32 teams. One of the top 4, top 5 markets in the country. They don't share that football market with anybody else, but yet they're only worth $5.66 billion. Why? Because the Bidwell family is just as cheap as the Bengals family and just doesn't, hey, you know what? Let's put money into this team. Let's invest in this team. They're always at the bottom of the list. When the owner's report comes out, the Cardinals players are like, this guy is a terrible owner. It's amazing that you see some of these teams on the bottom of the list going how can they be on the bottom of the list? All profitable eventually, don't get me wrong. But there are some teams that should be way higher on this list than actually are.
Well, because you have to spend money to make money.
True.
Donnie, it's about as old and as cliche as it comes, but it is never more truer than what's happening in the NFL. And listen, when you win, you become more valuable, right? Look at the Lions, Donnie, who now I think they increased nearly 20% in value from 2024. Why? Well, I mean, they were one of the dead bottom value teams as well because they had never won anything. But now I think they went from 29th or 28th to right around 25th. And you can make that kind of jump with actually putting a winning product on the field. Go figure.
I get a kick out of too. You look at the teams that share the same city. First of all, the Chicago Bears being 11th is absolutely hilarious to me. The largest market in the country with one team, and you're 11th. That shows how bad at business you actually are. There's no other team in town. You should be number 1 on that list. But if we are looking at the Rams, the Rams are number 2, and you take this, scroll down. The Chargers are 21st. The same city, number 2 and 21. Why is that? That's Kroenke's building. You think when Taylor Swift rolls through that has a concert that, the Spanos family is sharing in those riches? No, they're not. That's directly to Kroenke. Anytime something big happens there, that's his. You want to host the Super Bowl there? You think the Chargers are getting money for that? They are not. That's Kroenke's building. He paid for it. That's the big discrepancy. And then the Jets are listed at 8th and the Giants at number 3. Same city, same stadium, but that branding goes back way further than the New York Jets here. When did the Jets come in? 60s? Early 70s into the NFL with the merger? Yeah.
Yeah, late 60s, and they won. They won the big game with good old Joe Namath there, and then it's been downhill ever since there. But yes, no, the Giants had quite the jump start on the Jets, but you're still worth what, $5 billion or more? I mean, my goodness.
There's those Miami Dolphins, 7th on the list. And by the way, 7th on the list or 7 wins. Which one is going to be the correct one next year when we start to reevaluate that franchise at this point right now?